All right, we're up and at 'em. See one person there. I'm going to let this continue to populate for a moment. Hi, Susan. Hi, Amy, Peter. Who do we got? Fight fascism. I'm glad you're here. Holy cow. Holy cow. Trish, good to see you. I'll just let it go. Jason, nice to see you too. Let the names kind of trickle in here for a second. So I got up this morning and I just was trying to get some stuff scheduled for next week. This is a little early for me, so I'm glad to see people are up. Normally, I wait till about 8 o'clock. Good morning, Jason. I don't know what time it is where you're at, whatever time zone you're in. So I get up and I'm doing my work this morning and I'm recording a couple voiceovers and trying to get my stuff scheduled. Hi, Kim. And for the next week. And then, of course, I'm scrolling through, just kind of seeing what's happened. And I see, oh, you're really early. Good morning, Judith. Good morning. Um, so I was scrolling through the information, seeing what's happening, and I see that we've, launched another set of illegal airstrikes. I'm looking at a different page here. Illegal airstrikes on Iran, and once again, so naturally, you see that. Santa Cruz, California. Interesting. I hope you have nice weather there. So I saw that we've murdered more people and illegally, you know, they ordered these strikes. And at some point, I don't know. I wanted to just process my emotions on this with you guys. You guys are always this tremendous help to me. Hi, Suzanne. So we're again this lawless person who I suspect stole the 2024 election because again, I always put it this way. That guy has never done one honest thing in his whole life. Wow, that's a trauma. Um, I can't even say it. Oh, Maria, that's easier. Hi, Maria. So we have this lawless, sorry excuse for a person who's had everything easy his whole life. He's never known once in his life the fear of not being able to pay the rent. I'm sure he doesn't know how to change the oil in his car. He's lived a life of entitlement and privilege. Hello, hello. Um, I feel, I feel he, the people like that when they get into a contest, they don't even make an appearance of being honest. They just feel they're entitled to the whole world. They feel they're entitled to take anything. These are the type of people that become rapists and who become child rapists. Yeah. Jason says he threw rocks at his neighbor's baby when he was young. Like, just literally, hi, Blue Heart. Literally the worst person ever. And 10 years now it's been. And the American people have just let him get away with crime after crime after crime and play. Yeah, I believe you, Jason. I believe that's true. They let him get away with crime after crime after crime. Yeah, this is not the America I want either. And this is not, this is a bully nation. And I think we just have to speak it open. And I telling you, I was just doing a voice note. I was reading an article that I wrote 3 years ago. And it's interesting to read these articles from 3 years ago because there's so many things. It was all there. All the stuff I was talking about there have happened. And quite often, these articles from 3 or 4 years ago are more well received than the ones I write today. And we got to accelerate this process. I mean, everybody's got to get caught up. And we get to the point where, you know, we can't have people that are escaping accountability for their crimes. They're escaping, general strike. It's got to be either general strike or other things. I was reflecting on, we know what the number is. It's like 26 Republicans have to just change. A couple in the House, a couple senators. And we should be applying pressure on those groups. Yeah. And Jason says he has a lot of assistants to get the office from the man behind the Iron Curtain when you get a chance. Oh, I didn't listen to that song, but please send it again. I lose track of stuff lately. I apologize for that. I'm finding stuff's just falling off my plate, and I'm just kind of I don't know how much longer this is sustainable, honestly, as I sit here and do these, but yeah, please send it. I do my best to keep up with everything, but I'm just constantly it's been the last 2 weeks, I've had that sense like you get when you're leaving for a trip and you're forgetting you have a sense you forgot something, you don't know what it is. That's how I feel all the time lately. Oh, you wrote in 2016. Oh, man. Yeah. Thank you. Share it in the chat, Jason. People can click on it and have it. So do it right now. But yeah, I mean, we got to start thinking. It takes like 26, I think, Republicans, and we could have him impeached. This could be done. This could be over. People, and the best part of that would be people wouldn't have to die. And I realize a lot of people are at the point where they're just like they think you're foolish for even expecting anything from the politicians. But I think that also needs to be part of what we do. I think we need to have multiple things in play. And then you listen to the Democrats, and they're just like, well, we don't even want to talk about repeat impeachment, because it's not possible right now. But they don't try to make it possible. They have to manifest it. And rather than go, I mean, we should be finding the houses of we should pick the senators, the Republican senators in Congress, people that are most likely to come to our side and have daily protests at their house and around their area. And I've said this, and people are like, "Well, we can't." What about the families of those politicians? They didn't do anything. It's like, look, what about the families of the people that just died in these illegal attacks? I'm not saying hurt anybody. I'm not saying hurt anybody. And it's weird how people will, and I think a lot of it is because on the internet, everything is these bot accounts. People are just they're trying to always stop our ability to rise up. Fight Fascism says, the link is to Trump. I don't like to say his name. And stolen elections. The Congress and Senate need to invoke Article 2 of the Constitution. Yeah. But I mean, that's a good thing to know. And we just don't have the Republicans who are willing to do it now. And we have to pressure them. I mean, they take pressure from other places. They take pressure from their donors. Thanks, Jason. And send me these in a direct message. Jason's been sending his protest songs. I'd be happy to promote them. I can't do much in the chat, though, as I keep chatting here. But again, we have the Democrats who are just like, well, we just have to wait till the midterms. You don't. You can act right now. You personally, every single one of nothing else should be on the table right now. It's all, I mean, the business as usual has to be done because they keep killing people. I mean, this government continues to kill people. They are murdering people. They're murdering babies. I mean, when you drop bombs, you murder babies. Yeah, always peaceful, always law abiding, but we can just be there with our signs. I mean, we just don't even speak. And I think that to me is the thing that's most frustrating. Jamie says, continually peaceful but loud protests need to be happening at people's homes and offices daily. Yes. I mean, why? It's like people pressure you. It's like, well, let those people do their work. And it's like, people are getting murdered. No, they're not doing their work. Their only job right now is to restore lawfulness to our society. Jason says, the Walter thing I like is you're stressing take action, which is something a lot. Yeah, we do. We have to rethink. And a lot of this, Jason, and this is continual, the attacks on our ability to think. Natasha K keeps talking about that. And, they just pressure us. And it's not just through people. I mean, it's through, because everybody's online so much. And there's so many bots that are deployed. I had a guy, people just come at you. Like the other day, I was critical because Prince Charles he's like being all weak about removing Andrew from the line of succession. And somebody writes, I'm like, this is disgusting. There has to be accountability. And somebody writes, well, he's eighth in line. Like, why are you defending a pedophile? It's like, we need instant, immediate. I don't even care. It's like removing him from the line of succession. It's not the punishment he deserves, but we got to just start doing punishments. Let's stop wringing our hands and just instantly now he's out. And somebody was like, well, he's eighth. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you making apologies? Why are you defending a pedophile? And then this person went on, well, if you'd have read my whole comments, like, look, you led with this idea, like, okay, it doesn't mean anything because he's eighth. It's like unacceptable. It's like, start with accountability for pedophiles. That needs to be your first line. And don't give me this crap. People create this. So I don't even know. And that might have been a case where I was dealing with a bot, because that's what they kind of do. They do something that's like borderline offensive, which is designed to trigger you. and it triggered me. And then they come back with, "Well, you're actually at fault for getting all mad." And so now we're just way off. And I'm just like, we're bringing this back to accountability for pedophiles, and it's also going to be accountability for you because what you said was wrong. And look, if you're on my side, you have to admit you're wrong right now and demand accountability for pedophiles. And we just live in this society where people have indoctrinated themselves and conditioned themselves that their grievance is more important than just right righteous action. Their grievance is more important than righteous action. That's what everybody thinks. And that's the white supremacy mantra where they'll say it's delay, 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 because the mechanism of abuse has already been constructed and it's already operational. So all they have to do is delay. And so then they say things like, well, I agree with what you're saying. I just don't like the way you're going about it. It's like, fuck you. That means you don't agree. You know, put your, because that is so nefarious and so prevalent. It even drives allies apart at this point. It drives allies apart. And that's what's scary about it. Because we get to the point where even when we see somebody who is our ally, who is actually working the problem, but is working it from another way, because of that white supremacy conditioning, we become incensed that they are not working the problem like we are working the problem. And that's a hard thing to understand. I've been working through these thoughts a lot lately because I see so many people that you're just like, well, that's because there's times, and it's just like we do need to pause. And especially in a moment like right now, um, I mean, this is a tidal wave. In my live the other day, I'm gonna get to the comments in a second, but kind of on a couple thoughts here. My live the other day with Arturo and Shane, I mean, he was talking about there's just all these different conflicts going on. There's that weird attack in Cuba. There's this attack on, I mean, they've been getting ready for that. There's other things, I think Pakistan and Afghanistan or something. So all this stuff is going on. And I'm just like, oh, just back up a second. Because after the tariff decision from the Supreme Court, the president said, I'm going to burn the whole world down, essentially. He's like, I'm going to make this shitty for everybody. And I said this, I'm just like, this is what's happening. This is the temper tantrum motion or moment. And I said that, and Arturo goes, I think there's something to that, he said. And we just see this again and again because we have a moment of celebration when, like, okay, the Supreme Court struck down the chair. The Supreme Court is absolutely corrupt. There's only 3 decent people on that court. But they shut down the tariffs. Great. Celebrate. Literally, this temper tantrum toddler of a pathetic monster who's in the White House is going to do something. He's just going to hit somebody. So he feels powerful again. And we're in that moment. And that's what this attack on Iran is. So in addition to the pedophile stuff, yeah, all the kids in the detentions that we can't forget about that. I was just reading about Adam Schiff said that ICE has found like 100, they've just spent like $140 million of weapons. So, I mean, it's like that's an army. They've created a $170 billion ICE army that, they're going to be coming for us. And, that's just ongoing. But I want to just say, look, especially in these moments when it feels really desperate, we're just getting hit by this. Getting hit by this news. We're speculating about the worst things that could possibly happen. It's really important. They call us alarmists. They dismiss us as being alarmists. But what I want to tell you all is there's a couple things. In those moments of worry, I've had this. Like last week, I had the perfect case study because everything seemed to be going wrong. My furnace went out. I had all this, in addition to everything else in the world, my furnace goes out. I didn't sleep much. And then I was driving home and my brakes started making noise and they were squeaking. And I was just like, that was almost like the breaking point moment, So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to park the car for a second and I'm not going to worry about it. And so I parked it. And then I'm like, okay, I got to get my daughter. Let's see if and it drove okay. I don't know if I just grabbed like a piece of dirt or something in the brake. But it's like sometimes you just need to give yourself a little space from these constant things. And I mean, your trauma is real. When you feel these trauma, when you feel this anxiety, when you see these things happening, you feel that pain and that frustration, that fear. And then 3 minutes go by and you're like, okay, I'm still here. And then an hour goes by and you're still here. So it's like, and then you start thinking about it differently. Okay. So there's a lot of wait and see we have to do. So don't be too committed to hopelessness yet, is what I want to say. And it always helps me to settle myself because I remember that this regime has never been weaker than it is right now. They've never been weaker. They keep making transgression after transgression to see what they can get away with. We should have stopped them a long time. That's without question. They've been illegal since 2016. Nothing but lawlessness. And, we've been letting it go and go and go, and, it's yet to be seen how far it will go, but I do sense, I mean, because 'cause I've been monitoring this since then, and in 2016, there was response, there was anger. The anger we have right now is 1,000 times higher. In this moment, this crucible, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and I still feel we're gonna be rousing ourselves, but bit by bit, maintain alliances, don't let your frustration drive you apart from people that are your allies. Take a second. Because if somebody had been in my car and started lecturing me about how my brakes were fine, I would probably have vented all my frustration on that person, right? Because I was in that moment of trauma and I was overwhelmed. And we're all really close to that being overwhelmed when I organize out my things there. And we have to it's on you a bit. I mean, we're here to help each other get through these moments when we're feeling put upon and it's just too much and people who are strong need to help. But when you're feeling strength, you have to take a couple hits. It's kind of what it is. Because if somebody starts screaming at me about their breaks, it's like, okay, okay, okay. Let them take a moment of rest. And then we circle back and they're like, okay, yeah, it was too much. Things were falling off my plate. And that happens to me too. I say the wrong thing times. It was just, we have to be there for supporting each other. Let me see what Jason says. Yeah, there's a lot of complaints, and that's the problem with legacy media still. Um, yeah, your weirdo friend mentions it. There's a lot of people doing complaints, but they're not really taking any action. They're not giving actionable ideas, and I do always try to do that. But a lot of what's going on, yeah, it's not just to like just develop hysteria or make people worried about what's happening. We have to have a point of action. We really do have to understand. We have to do a fundamental change. We have to have a fundamental recalibration of how we think, how we perceive reality as Americans. All that has to change. And this is a long process, too. I want people to be patient and have grace with themselves. And this is why I keep encouraging you. If you disagree with me, talk to me and give me some grace. Give me some time to explain myself better. Like last week, I had a couple times I was talking with Deidre and I sent an email and I was just like in my enthusiasm to write an email. I reread it later. I'm like, oh, it sounds like opposite of what I tried to say. And I was just feeling awful about it. I sent her an apology. And these things happen. I mean, you watch these shows, right? I don't know how long I don't know how long I can keep doing this, honestly, because it's just sort of like I get kinda into that manic mode, and it's just talk, 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 and my brain works really fast, and I gotta get it out of there, and I'm really tired. Um, but it's like we have to navigate these things, and the more people that can see every one of these moments, I mean, this has been ongoing, I've been building up to this because 2 years ago, I was just doing my voice notes out in the woods. I've just kinda I have so many voice notes that I never turned into articles that have stuff that has to be said. It's easy to just talk it through like this because there's just such a tidal wave of stuff that we have to address every single day. The desperation, it's like the whole ship's coming apart. But yeah, we have to take positive action and we just have to remember that. I think, yes, the most important thing is just like give people a little bit of grace and just know that everybody is so up to the top with stress and frustration and they're going to lash out. And sometimes they lash out at allies. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's a misconception, or sometimes they have no awareness that that's what they're doing. They're just like the other day I was writing to Will about it, and it's like when my wife was giving birth, she had some choice words for me, and it's like she's in agony. I'm not going to sit here and be. It's like now. I was like, not, don't use that phrase. Don't use the F word. You don't say that. You take the hit. You say, okay, it's okay. Scream at me, fine. And then 2 seconds later, all right, now we're past that moment of pain and we're still allies and we're still together. And that's the thing that's been missing in our activism, because we get so constantly pushed aside by the people in power, the abusers in power who never give us a chance to speak. They constantly push us aside. That then we finally meet an ally and we think, okay, finally something good's going to happen. And then we get to that point where the ally sees something just slightly differently than we do because it's a diverse perspective. And because we've been pushed so much by these pressures to be frustration and to feel frustration and helplessness, we mistakenly think that the ally has betrayed us. And that's not the case. That's not the case. We have to have our allies now. And we have to just treat each other with this kindness that we've never been treated with by the larger society. So I think that's a hard thing to talk about. Yeah, Jamie says there's too much senseless noise online, but it urges most people need to feel like they're informed and doing something. Well, and the reality is we've seen too, this is another thing that people have been worried about is that the oligarchs are buying up all the platforms, and then there's been the talk about censorship, and you guys I was just reflecting last night, you guys are so brilliant, in the comments. The people I've met on Substack, the people I've talked to are so accomplished. I've talked to so many people with PhDs, and it's just stunning to me when I'll talk to somebody, I'll have a long conversation with somebody who's earned a PhD, and they're sitting there listening to what I have to say, and they've gone through that, and it's so flattering, and I am so appreciative of it. And a lot of it is, I think, I'm not sitting here claiming like I have all the answers. What I sit here and claim is that I'm often wrong, and I appreciate listening to you guys. And that's the thing that's majorly different. Because if you go to the major media outlet, you get a guy, oh, he's in his suit, he's got perfect hair. Well, today, American citizens are mad for no reason again, because and that's all they say. And like, here, I hope this community, the opportunity is where you guys can express your comments. And it's just like, and I'll listen. And like I said, sometimes I'll fight the comment a little bit, but I'll think about it. It doesn't go away. I spend all my time ruminating on the things you guys write and where I made mistakes. And we try to, and then you see things differently. You start getting this better picture of our current reality because there's so many lies out there. And yeah, again, the oligarchs are buying up all the media platforms because they've got endless supply of money. And it's all part of the social construction, the social engineering. So they can control all narratives. They can keep us from recognizing that we have power. They're going to shut down voices that call for things like a general strike because rich people don't want that. We don't even want to have that as part of our perception of what is possible, you know. And that's why it's so critical to be on a platform like this. But again, thank you guys. Thank you guys for all your thoughts and all your support and just being there and allowing us all to just kind of work through what's going on, especially these and I wanted to say quickly about that Iran strike. There is a chance. I mean, there's a possibility this could turn into this bloody war, it could turn into Vietnam. There's also a chance that that's the end. That could be also, and there's between those two things, between those extremes is probably what's going to happen. So it's don't just don't just resolve yourself or resign yourself to thinking that the worst is inevitable because we are the alarmists. We're speaking the alarms, but then the alarmists do the work. And they call us alarmists, disregarding the fact that because of our work, we prevented the greater tragedies. So it's like our concept of heroism throughout all of history is completely flawed. The best heroes aren't the ones who defeated evil. The best heroes are the ones that prevented evil from even coming into power, right? Or from everything happening. And I mean, we're at a point where evil has come into power. That's irrefutable. But we still have the power within our time to save as many lives as possible through our action and take action today. And that action can be something as simple as talking to somebody. Somebody bring them on. Because I was telling you, the algorithm is not showing me anymore on this platform, but it still takes the new subscribers. So if you find new subscribers for me, and I was, like the newsletters, send out the newsletters. I did a list. I did a note the other day. If you scroll through all the interviews I've done with candidates, because you can't find out about candidates. This is just astonishing to me. In most elections, you can't go find out about the people that are even running. The news just doesn't even cover this. So I took all those notes, I have like 6 or 7 candidates with gubernatorial and congressional candidates, and I was just sending them out to all the newspapers in the state of Wisconsin, because these are Wisconsin elections. So people can just have access to them, share them on Facebook, share them, everywhere. And the more people that come and the more people that talk, we can start to take back this. But I mean, there's, I peaked. I got up to my 20,000 subscribers and then it kind of flattened out. And it's like, well, they're afraid. They don't want a person like me having influence on 100,000 people or 1 million people where I would listen. I would have a hard time doing it because there's so many. Right now I'm having a hard time keeping up with everybody. And I would do my best to do that. But they're deliberately stopping it. So the more of you that can help in that, and I'll help back. I mean, I'll share your posts when I see them, and you have important things that need to be said, important topics. We'll bring them up. We'll share it, and we can control the narratives, and we shouldn't sit here and just submit to the narratives of these powerful people. One of the things that happens in this world is like you get like a impressionable spokesperson who goes and talks to a billionaire. The billionaire tells this spew of lies, right? But he doesn't talk to everybody because he knows somebody will figure it out. He selects a spokesperson. spews his lies to the spokesperson. This might be a person who is just sincerely believes that's a good person. And that's not something that's an indictment of that person, because to give people the benefit of the doubt is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Kids do it. It's just innocence. And if you see somebody that you've been told to respect and you listen to what they say, excuse me, you, you try to make it make sense to you. And so this is what the oppressors do: is they find a spokesperson, they lecture them, well, this, and they use a lot of pressure, but they know that the person who receives that information will try to process it and then regurgitate it in a way that's more acceptable to the masses. And this is how the messages of evil get camouflaged, because they go through those gatekeepers. It's the gatekeeper system. Gatekeepers are the ones who process a message of evil through their own innocence and sincerity. And they say, well, it must be this, because they're making all these assumptions without examining the fact that rich people only get rich because they're evil. All right. Let me keep going. Catherine says, I believe it. I think if he knows he's going down, yeah, yeah. And I hope at some point, the note I wrote the other day was, normally billionaires don't like this kind of instability. And normally billionaires just remove. They just call for have people removed. It takes like one or two donors to call up one or two senators, and they'll switch like that. Maybe our demonstrations need to be with these billionaires. I saw recently that the unions were pressuring Schumer about his influencing the election in Maine. And I think it's good that the unions are doing that. These DNC anointed candidates are just garbage. Every single one of them is just garbage. They're all status quo people, and most of them are bad candidates. I mean, people sit there and say, well, this person, they're not. The people the DNC runs are not more likely to get elected. That is a false narrative. They're not running people because they want them to get elected. They're running people only because the DNC runs people only because they're good fundraisers. That's the only thing they give a shit about. They don't even care about winning elections. They like to lose, actually, better, because then they get more donations. And then they use those donations to run candidates who are opposed to the progressive candidates who will actually work for the people. And, if we can get, it doesn't take 100%. If we could get 20% change, 10% change, we get 10% more progressives. That Francesca Hong I keep talking to is just so great. And Emily Berge, she's going up against Rebecca Cook. And, I've reached out to both campaigns. Rebecca Cook never wrote back to me, and Emily Berge has called me up on the phone multiple times. And Emily Berge she's the leader of the city of Eau Claire. She's the highest elected representative in the city. So it's the biggest city in that congressional district. She's got the legislative background. She's done these jobs, and she's traveling all over. She's really, really good. And the DNC decided they're going to go with the other person. So they're dumping money into the campaign of Rebecca Cook. And I think we just have to get to that point. People, stop listening to the DNC. You really just it's like we get to determine what the DNC is. They get so hostile about this, but we get to elect in our primaries the best person. And again, the media doesn't spend any time on these primaries. I've been trying to do this all by myself. We need 100 more newsletters doing this. I can't do it all by myself. And I can interview the candidates. I need to do it regularly, these candidates just in my state, and then share it. And I need help. I need your help. I need your help. Everybody, please. I need your help. It's this messaging. And we just, because we get lulled, we get pressured by both sides into just complacency and delay, because that structure of oppression exists. So all they have to do is delay. They don't even have to fight against us. They just have to delay. They just have to say, you're being silly, calm down, you're being unreasonable. When you're sitting in a mansion with your servants and your heated pool, it's really easy to say, yeah, just calm down. When you're underneath a cardboard box on the highway, you need action now, right? And the fact is, the person under the cardboard box never gets to speak. They never get to come online and say these things. And so we've got to change that. I mean, our legacy media deliberately doesn't cover the primaries because the DNC doesn't want there to be a legitimate primary. The Republicans, I don't even care about the Republicans. They're so corrupt. And really, you know what? The only thing the Republicans run on is that they're not the DNC. I think that's kind of significant at this point. So if we've got a couple, one of the things that people always said when they voted for MAGA was they just wanted a person who talked in a way that they recognize. And that didn't make sense to me before, because the things that this guy in the Oval Office says now are so abhorrent and awful. But I'm getting to the point where when Hakeem Jeffries comes out and starts to bullshit us and starts to blatantly lie to us and misrepresent his position, he gets all hostile and he uses a lot of Ivy League talk, like we're all too stupid to understand. It's like, yeah, I went to a state school, but I, have a minor in physics. And it's like I know basic math. And when then they get all haughty and then their internet army comes at you and you said, this doesn't make any sense what they just said. And when I was 20, I bowed down to that pressure. And when I was 30, I bowed down to that. I'm 50 now. It gets to the point where I'm like, at this point, I've raised kids. I've had a business. I've been successful in a number of ways. My opinion is not frivolous. It's not negative. It's not divisive. I'm just asking questions. I can do the calculations. Do you want to sit down with me and do the calculations? Tell me what's wrong with my math. They won't tell me anything's wrong with my math. They're just mad at me for sitting there daring to question them. And that's why we have fascism now, because they keep running these awful candidates that refuse to do anything and just spew this Ivy League bullshit that pisses everybody off and disregards all the pain that we're in. And a big part of this is just changing our perception bit by bit. I mean, there's days, probably now, even now, people in the comments, and I haven't scrolled through the comments in a minute. I'll get to those in a second. Oh, keep going down and reading your comments. But people resist. And it's like, yes, again, please. I know sometimes I'll say things that you don't quite agree with, but it's like we're allies in this and we'll continue to work on it. And sometimes it's a mistake in my messaging. Sometimes it's because people aren't quite understanding what I'm saying yet. Just give it a little bit of time, give it time. And a big part of this is just changing our perception and our demands of what we accept as possible in this reality and in this life. All right, Jamie, all of us so-called alarmists have been proven continuously completely right over the last decade with this man. Yes, our continued voice of alarm is very much needed. And alarmists are the ones that prevent the greater tragedies. We're the ones that go unrecognized. Again, build a statue to some people. You should be building a statue to somebody who prevented the tragedy. And that's just never even known. It's never even recognized. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. What does Jamie say? I'm sorry you feel this is Walter, I'm sorry you feel that way. I feel the same way when I talk to family and friends, but please no, thank you so much. Your voice is so needed. So many of us in the world, just take some time to find some quiet for yourself. Just step away. Yeah, thank you. And I will. Oh, Charles is here. Good to see you, Charles. And it's just been overloaded. My sense is it's close to the end. And I have been deliberately taking time to rest. But yeah, the last couple of weeks has been, and it's just like this energy, the manic energy, like I said, it's exhausting to talk like this and composing all these thoughts really quick, having it all come out, processing everything you guys say, but we have to move closer to that point of action. We're running out of time, a lot of good things are happening. I have a vision for what I want things to look like 2 months from now or tomorrow. It probably won't happen, but if we can push it in that direction, at the end of this, if I play some small part in getting Emily Berge and Fran Hong elected, I'll go to my grave a happy man, because that means I will have done something important. And so thank you, Jamie, for your lovely comment and your support. Wag Dog USA. Yeah. They're creating it's obvious at this point, isn't it? They keep going to the same well. That's the one thing because this is a one-trick pony regime, and he's not very clever. And all he knows how to do is, because he's an inept bully, and the only skill he's developed in his life is to distract from the fact that he's completely incompetent at everything. That's the one thing he's done. He's spent his whole lifetime because of this just overwhelming, overriding insecurity. This is a person that psychologically can be crushed if you just make him recognize how worthless he is. And I think we've been ineffective at that. He's more afraid of that than he is for accountability for his child rapes. The other day I said, Stephen Miller's the kind of guy who got beat up by his inner child. That goes double for the guy in the Oval Office. This is such just loathsome, but the weakness of that man is the thing that I think will resonate most in history. He is weak. And I think about that. That gives me some stability when I'm really feeling hopeless, because this is such a weak person and he's so close to breaking. He cannot handle all these pressures, and he keeps bringing more pressures down on himself with every crime. Now, what we're watching is karma. Karma is what's going to save us, because human beings are not going to. But the universe does rise up in the presence of evil. There are consequences for evil. It happens. And even a loathsome person who has no conscience still has to endure the torment. I mean, this is what they've talked about forever. This is hell. Hell is real. If you do loathsome act after loathsome act, living in a perpetual present, never even considering a tomorrow, because he just hits back. Somebody says something to him, it makes him feel weak. He just hits back without any. He just needs that moment of where he feels powerful again. But that resonates. There's consequences to that action beyond just that smack. Okay, now I feel good. They don't even think about a day later or a month later, a year later. And he's just getting into debt. This is a debt-inducing human being. He's getting into moral debt. I mean, his moral debt is crushing him. We got the portrait of Dorian Gray president, because from look on the outside, you look at, oh, he's got money and he's got this political power. But the reality is, if you look at the picture, it's just rot. It's just rot. And that is going to catch up with him. This is a law of the universe. It's going to get him. He's not going to get away with it. I want you all to just resolve and remember that. And you're just watching this rot. This is a weird, weird moment in history. But at the same time, the people, we can't be just resigned to like, okay, he's going to get his. We have to take action too. And we have to, make those calls, make some call, go show up at Republican offices and just make demands. It's like, look, this is what they're going to do. Go talk to people that you know that are Second Amendment people and say they're stockpiling for an assault. They're murdering people, and they're murdering people abroad. They're murdering people at home. All right, let me keep reading. Hippy dippy. I remember years ago when I started hearing that we are living in a simulation. I couldn't wrap my mind around it until now. Still trying to squint so I can see it more clearly. So many lies and mirages. Yeah, and I was talking the other day about how in even in the Matrix, which came out in 1999, he says, "Haven't you always known that something's wrong?" And we do know that. I mean, we have that instinctive part of us that knows we're being lied to. It's beyond our intellect. Kids, like I said, when I was in a classroom and I started speaking real to the kids, they instantly knew before I even actually spoke the words. So we know there's levels of understanding and communication beyond what we often acknowledge. We're seeing them lately. Jamie says, more real people like you making their voices heard in discussion, community, flaws and all. Thank you. Thank you. A big heart, compassion, empathy, and that is what is needed most. That's really nice of you, Jamie. And yeah, when I was talking with Francesca Hong the other day, I mean, it's just her kindness. It can't be hidden. And we're so used to seeing, and that's the problem though, too, is because so many people are like, well, this is what a politician should look like. And we get these just jerks who come out and lecture us. They're the same as the boss who's like, well, I can't give anybody a raise this year because blah, blah, blah. We've had those people. And people just think, well, that's what an authority figure looks like. And a big part of what we're going through right now is recognizing we don't have to tolerate that. Just vote for the one. Like I mentioned before, that woman, she was on the news. She was crying because she cast her vote in the Texas primary for Tallarico instead of Crockett. And she was just insisting to herself, well, he's the better, and he's not. He is not the better choice. What is the point of voting for somebody who, even if they win office, is not going to work for you? That makes no sense. And the thing I keep saying with people is, Republicans or Democrats always coming, we got to appeal to the moderate Republicans. No, you have to appeal to the Democrats. You're running as a Democrat. Appeal to Democrats. Appeal to, the independents. Who gives a shit about if you want to appeal to Republicans, run as a Republican. And if we just start saying that to people, if we dismantle that argument on a national scale, it can just go away. There are examples in history of arguments going away. There are times when people used to believe things like phrenology, like measuring the bumps on your head to like determine what a person's life is going to be. That's pseudoscience. But there was a time when people believed it. And our job is to deprogram that and there's a lot of things that need to be deprogrammed, like that perception that leaders have to be these gigantic fucking assholes. And so people are just like, well, that's the guy who looks like a leader to me. Click. And that's the only thing they think about. We have to change that. And the DNC does not help us with that. They don't help. They don't give me any support for my messaging. It's all you wonderful people who do. But bit by bit, we get there. We're going to get there. And like the more of you, if we have, it's 80 right now, 80 strong voices saying this message makes a huge difference. Just going around saying, hey, look, like the whole socialism argument. It's the reason we don't have universal healthcare is so your employer can abuse you. Say that. It's like, it's not socialism. They're not anti-socialism. They're pro control. They want your boss to say, be it just a gigantic fucking asshole, treat you like shit and know that you can't leave because they know you've got a sick kid who relies on your health insurance. So you have to accept this rape culture society, and then we just get to the point where our mechanisms for surviving within a rape culture society become so deeply ingrained we don't even see them. And you just stop even recognizing that a better future is possible. And that's where we're at. Uh, I was just, yeah. Okay, let me just keep going through. I want to read some more comments here. Jamie says, exactly. Your talk with Francesca Hong was fantastic. Thank you. And I've done 2 now. She's wonderful. And I organized her to go on with Gen Xe with Lawrence and Dana. I think that's March 3rd. So let me be the first to, hopefully that holds up. But they're set to go on March 3rd at, what time do they go? I think they're at 9 AM. Yeah, I don't do anything at 9 AM. So Francesca Hong is going on with Gen Xe on March 3rd. And yeah, tune in for that, please. Even I'll try to remember not to go long that day because I need you guys to see her. The more visibility she gets, if they start talking about her on Blue Amp, I really feel Francesca Hong is the type of person who just like poof, she could just explode and go national because I mean she's just so authentic, so kind. She's got that background. She said she didn't finish college. I mean, she was in the serving, and I'm just like, that's a benefit. That's perfect. We have people who actually work. That is as important. I mean, we don't need these Ivy League assholes who have ever had everything handed to them. We need people in office who don't have degrees, who know what the struggle is like, because increasingly more people identify with that. More voters identify with that. Perfect. And she's just so kind. You see it when she talks, and she's famous for her use of the F-bomb, which I think is funny. All right. Hippy Dippy said, truth tellers on all platforms are all being repressed. I don't know what comes next if they find a way to control it all. Well, Hippy Dippy, that's always been the case. And I'm not saying that's a justification, but yes, you're right. It scares me. I was thinking about that this morning. And a couple of years ago, we were all afraid of AI, and I think actually that was part of this strategy that's going on right now. They wanted to rush AI, launch AI to just silence all the human creators. And it hasn't worked. It's been about 4 years now, 3, 4 years, because Medium did their Boost program. I was a curator for that. I was a Boost nominator. I would select stories that I thought were exceptional. And the idea was because we needed human beings who knew about writing to weed out the AI. So it scared me at the time, though, too, because I've grown up. I mean, I'm old enough. I predate email. So, like, this digital stuff, whereas my kids have been there the whole time. But at the same time, they want to control messages. They want to control platforms. That's always been it is. We have to push back against that. But at the same time, I think my kids have developed mechanisms that even I don't have because a song came on the radio the other day and they're just like AI. And I'm just like, what? And they're like, yeah, this is just an AI song. This isn't a real song. And they like knew. So I think we got that instinctive moment where we developed an evolutionary response pretty quickly because that's a threat to us. So, but you're right. I mean, we have to seek out, and it is so easy to be passive and consume media passively. I've been reading and reviewing independently published books. I started what's it called? A magazine, a publication on Medium to review independently published books, and you just meet these wonderful authors that way, and you get much, much, much better writing. So I've been doing that for a long time. So I've had that impulse for a long time because we know the oligarchs own the media. It's all propaganda. But I mean, you go back to old stories and it's like the message is hidden and the real message is hidden in the subtext because they knew if they were to tell it, they'd be beheaded. And so it's just like there's always that control. And I think what I mean by that is we have to fortify ourselves and just recognize that truth has been enduring and then deliberately seek out people that are not on these mainstream platforms. Again, people like me who are the transparent checkmark as opposed to the solid orange ones and the solid purple ones, these ones that are being pushed aside because they give all those other guys algorithmic advantages. They get all the advantages in the world. My stuff gets pushed aside. And, it goes all the way back to our grade school when you're like, there's going to be a contest and they present it as something legitimate, like somebody good will be rewarded. And then without fail, they always reward somebody that couldn't have been the best. And that goes all the way to the presidency now, too. So it seems like we're always seeing people be rewarded who don't seem to deserve it. So just understanding that, make that shift and deliberately support the people who are speaking truth. Jason said, man, I got lost. So I don't know. I hope I don't want that. I struggle. I hope you're all right, Jason. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Yeah, of course he wants to cancel the elections. I mean, he wants all kinds of things. He wants all kinds of delusional things. He wants to be free, he wants to be admired, he wants to and he's just out of his mind. He wants to live forever. He won't do that either. Judith says Schumer's a lame loser, and yeah, and he's just corrupt, and these big names in the DSC, I think, are more corrupt actually than the Republicans. That's why we have to, in the primaries, primary as many of the establishment Democrats as possible. You know, just every time, do your due diligence. The first thing the DNC does is they pressure people not to run against their anointed candidate. That's what they do, and they come up with all this bullshit. Primaries are good things. Primaries allow two candidates to go across the state and elevate the message of the party. They're good. They're good for democracy. They let the people in that district choose a leader. The DNC doesn't want that. Washington wants to control what our government looks like, and we can't allow it anymore. And so whoever the DNC is supporting in a primary, just vote for the opposition. Just do that. You're going to have to do your own research. I don't think I can sit here. I probably could. Maybe I could ask somebody else to do that. But go through every race that's happening and find all the candidates and find the progressive. Actually, you know who does that is the Leaders We Deserve. David Hogg does that. I think it'd probably be on his webpage. So make sure you do that. Yeah, Hakeem is a loser too. Thank you, Jamie Preach. Sandra, what's the oh my God for? I hope I'm 20 minutes behind in the comments again. Jason said it's their effed up marketing engine that is built using data analytics focused on maximum fundraising. It's the reason I'm done with the two-party system. Yep. But I mean, I don't think we should presume at all that the Democrats are trying to win elections. They're not trying to win elections. They don't want to work for us. They are saboteurs. They're just trying to prevent. They're trying to. They only have their corporate donors in mind. There are progressive Democrats. There's the Democratic Socialists. There's the Working Families Party that will work for us. And just show up at the primaries. I mean, they're being so quiet. You see, we need political candidates that say, look, go to the primaries. If you don't like the way I'm working, primary me out. If you do like the way I'm working, then support me and we'll keep going. But we have an establishment system that doesn't listen to people. And you actually will see a lot. Just these candidates that are willing to come on and talk to me. There's just terror among the establishment to talk to just a regular person like me. It's not an interview they can control. And that speaks a lot to the courage of people like Francesca Hong and Emily Berge and Chris Armstrong. They don't know what kind of questions I'm going to ask. They jump. I mean, it's Substack Live. So if they don't like it, they're like, oh, well, thank you for having me. And they can just leave and politely leave. But they don't know what they're going to get. And that's brave because they don't. But the reason our establishment guys are so afraid to have honest conversations is because they got this bullshit lie mechanism that they spew. And they're just afraid if they get off script, they'll inadvertently give clues to the fact that they're lying, and these things live on forever. When you speak with integrity, you're not afraid to just talk to anybody. And our Democratic leaders that refuse to talk to me, and the Republicans and the former Republicans, don't trust them. Don't trust people like Fetterman. They won't ever talk to me. They'd get mad, and that's when you've got an authoritarian jerk. Yeah, Jamie, everything in media is always about November, never about the extremely important primary. Primaries are way more important. Jason said, I've sent reply to every email I received from every Dem stating I wasn't sending a dime to a robot, and said losing the even connection with Constitution. Yeah, if somebody would call me and they refused to, Two finally replied, oh, good. Schiff and I forgot the Los Angeles rep who was arrested. Schiff is good. I think Schiff was one of the good ones. Who was arrested trying to ask Krusty Oh, yeah. That guy. God, I have a guess. I think I know what his name is, but I'm not going to say it because I'm not for sure I have it right. DNC and established corporate Dems argue they're not. Yeah. 55 degrees. I don't know who that is. Leon Panetta? I don't know who that is. All right. Chat AI getting the contract for the Defense Department. Oh God, did they? I hadn't heard that one. So, Karma says, are we going to be able to keep up the resistance? Yes, absolutely, Karma. There's no other question. And again, it's early, so don't be too much in a panic. Don't think this is the end. They've done the strikes. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? We don't know, and we have to keep up our action. But you take a hit. You see bad news, like they murdered a bunch of people. The American government just murdered a bunch of people again. How many innocent people have to die to protect the child rapists in the Epstein files is what we really have to ask. And that has to be every question. That has to come up all the time. How many innocent people have to die to protect, and then like Pam Bondi just listed they're gonna arrest 30 more people who protested at the church. Arrest some pedophiles. They haven't arrested any of them, and it's at the point now, yeah, like, the amount of effort they're putting into just these nonsensical things where are just dismissed, filing charges against innocent people, and then trying to claim they don't have actionable evidence in the Epstein files when you just have to read it, and it's just these are crimes. The videos that they have are crimes. Arrest those people, and they're not doing it, and, I guess maybe a thing we could do, I mean, finding donors, maybe we should be protesting at the houses of donors, the businesses, these billionaires. Why do they just get to sit there quietly and watch passively from a distance? We show up at the house of billionaires, and a couple of them are probably, like, gonna start thinking that the danger, because right now there's no response. They're not seeing any they're just sitting there quietly hoping we don't show up. There's no pitchforks and torches in my yard yet, that's what they're saying. But there's degrees of guilt among the ones that are on there, and I'm sure there are some billionaires that aren't on the Epstein list, and those are the ones maybe we need to go protest. Let's go assume. It's like, go so assume every billionaire's on that list, go to their houses. And then someone say, "You know what? Hey, now, we gotta start. There has to be some accountability here because they're feeling the heat." And those other people that come out, they're just like, "Well, we can't inconvenience them." It's like they have to be doing something. I mean, fucking George Clooney put his finger on the scale of the election, then he jetted off to France. Fuck that asshole. I mean, that stuff really pisses me off. These guys think they're above any kind of accountability. So you got to give up on that assumption that these people that have the power to do something and are doing nothing are somehow innocent. They are not innocent. They have to be doing something. Everybody has to be doing something. And just because they're in a gated community and they think they're safe, they're deluding themselves because sooner or later it's coming for them. So, I mean, we do these peaceful protests and we put some pressure on them, and then they can make a call and say, hey, I'm not going to donate that $50 million to your campaign next time unless you vote for impeachment. Find 5 other guys to do it. And they can probably call around and know who all their friends donate to. But that's where the pressure has to be put. And we're too easily distracted. We're not putting it in the right place. All right, let me see here. Early on in Leon's career, he knocked. Oh, this must be a pause. Okay, yeah, Leon Panetta. He knocked at my grandma's door, and I answered, and he and his son Jimmy with him. I was 7 or 8. He had bright flowers. Aw, sees candy for her, and wanted to personally thank her for all her canvassing and making phone calls and organizing. See, we need representatives like that. She started a pot of tea and made some snacks, and I was told to go play outside, but the beaming look of pride in her smile welcoming them in was one of the happiest times I've seen in her. So that's lovely. What a lovely story. And we can have representatives like that. The representatives we have now are afraid to talk to us. They refuse. They're such cowards. They won't come talk to us because they're doing nothing while pedophiles are raping kids and the government is illegally murdering people. Yeah. The ancestors' emissary will be here soon. And don't lose hope. I hope you don't lose hope, but also, yeah, I mean, we're not going to use violence. We don't have to. And Jamie says Dorian Gray is an accurate description. Yeah, good. Several lives about the war now. Good. Oh, okay. See you, Sandra. Um, see you, Judith. People are going off, so I'll just do my little say. Jason says that Global Cybersecurity Solutions architect leader with 3 teams reporting into me from all over. And when reviews came around, there was never enough budget to get them all what they deserve. So I always told my boss that my bump should be added to the pool budget for my teams. And unlike most manage up leaders, I discussed the ideas I had. Yeah. I mean, finding funding for the people doing the work is always, always, always challenging. I'll look for the DMs when I get done here, Jason. I'm sure I'm going to get them. Yes. Natasha K and I talk a lot about these things. Oh, Lefty Prof is here. That's what happened with the Kim. Yep. And I mean, we have to recognize those examples because those and in addition to being furious when like Hakeem starts screaming at Waj, recognize how that looks when you have a corrupt person. They're manifesting this behavior of corrupt people, and it always looks the same. So, and remember that when you're thinking in your primaries. Jamie says the established Dems are complicit in keeping us where we are and holding the status quo. They don't want progress. And yes, and they're refusing to stand up. They're refusing to do what needs to be done right now. Yeah, I didn't know who that is. I have to go look who that is. Leon Panetta. I'll look that up when I get done. Uh-oh, I lost my thing. Lefty Prof says it doesn't feel like the DNC is listening to the people. They aren't. They just don't. And they deliberately actually suppress the voice of the people, the DNC does. In my district here, where Emily Berkey is running, they are supporting the other candidate. And Emily just said, "It's like that's not fair. I wouldn't take that money. Let's let the people of this district decide, not Washington. Like Wisconsin should decide, not Washington." and their efforts and the money they throw, and it's enough to just destroy unity. I mean, the actions of the DNC are sabotage. They actively do not hear us. They have an agenda. This is what Lefty Prof says. They have an agenda, and doing the will of the people is not correct. We have to change that. We have the power to change that. Yeah, Lefty Prof. I didn't realize before the last year I wasn't paying nearly enough attention to the DNC, and I feel you on that one too. Because I mean, I was just, I mean, we were looking at such an awful reality that we are currently in, and so all my effort was just on getting Kamala elected. That's where all my effort was. Like, fine, you're putting aside a lot of these warning signs, just trying to put your head down and do the work. And I mean, but the black community always knew the DNC is not there for them. They are always surrendered and sacrificed for money and for the I like people like Nancy Pelosi just make me. I'm actually just disgusted with her. I mean, people still defend her, but she overruled putting AOC on the oversights committee in favor for that guy who was dying of cancer. So then we had that seat empty for the longest time. I mean, it's just like, and she got that Cuellar elected instead of Cisneros. She got pro-life Democrats who are white supremacists. She pushed them. So I'm just and like people that defend her, I think they make me. It makes me really angry because it's like she might have done things in the past that was before my time. All I see is this string in the last 10 years of how she deliberately worked against the people for her own enrichment. And I think, if you start being critical of people like Nancy Pelosi, you will appeal do exactly what the Republicans always say, or what the Democrats always say. They have to appeal to the moderates. They do that. And if you talk to somebody like Francesca Hong, um, she appeals to the moderates, not the Ivy League jerk who is the anointed candidate of Washington, D.C. So, yeah. That's a good point. Lefty's here. Jason, Lefty. Oh, good. I'm sure they came here. And then Jamie says, I was the same way a few years back. It's okay. We're going up and changing viewpoints. Well, I mean, it made sense. It made sense prior to the 2024 election. I mean, Kamala was a great candidate, right? And I mean, some people will fight. And yeah, there's things I disagree with, like Natasha Kaye says, but I think she has integrity, and she's been a person who prosecuted child trafficking. And it just seems to me like they did. The glass cliff is what people say. There's the glass ceiling and there's the glass cliff. The glass ceiling prevents you from rising any higher. The glass cliff is when they present you with an opportunity, but it's just designed to make you into a scapegoat. They push you off. And I think Kamala's there. And I think she represents a person who is legitimate, trying to work within the system, enduring a certain, like we were doing leading up to the election, because I was enduring a certain amount of corruption because the alternative seemed worse. Well, that's gone now. The election happened. I mean, there's clear indications of election interference because your opponent was a criminal who has never done anything without cheating in his whole life, and they refused to do any kind of recounts because all the donors of the DNC were protected by, getting the Republican into office. And yeah, normally the billionaires would say, we want stability, get rid of this guy. But right now, the guy in the Oval Office is the only guy protecting the billionaire class that's on the Epstein list. So they're just going to endure this. They're sweating too. Oh God, Pelosi's daughter. I mean, we need people that have worked minimum wage jobs in office. Minimum wage jobs need to be in there. Oh, Jason says, I'm working on a drawing of you. Send my Substack for loans I've done. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, my profile pic is a picture of that my daughter did. So that's kind of fun. She was the first one I got upset about. Oh, yeah, we don't need these legacy people in there. We need new people in there. Don't run on name recognition. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if the Democrats want money from me, they can call me up. They can talk to me. They should be paying me, though, honestly, because I'm doing more work to get them. Although I'm not getting the establishment ones elected, I'm getting the progressives elected. Yeah, I never reply to the text. Jamie says Pelosi's a definition of established corporate Dems, actively keeping progressives at bay. Yep, and Hillary was too. And this all started. I'll say it again. Go look it up yourself. Bernie Sanders sued the DNC in court for rigging the primaries prior to 2016, and the court determined that they did rig the primaries, but then that they had a right to. And that was another thing I put the other day. We need to start doing these lawsuits where we demand that we can vote in all primaries. I don't think it's fair. I think I should be able to vote both in the Republican and the Democratic primary and any other primary because they conduct those primaries on public property, right? And that would just completely transform our system. We'd see a big swing towards moderate candidates if we did that, because we could keep the really out of line ones out of the Republican. I think I should have a say in who's running for the Republicans. And if they don't want to do that, they can spend their own money um, renting warehouses and whatever for polling. So that's kind of an interesting idea, but I think that could be a first. I mean, that's a freedom of speech. I mean, if they can do the but our legal decisions are never based on anything resembling logic. It only appears that way. Because I mean, yeah, they just would laugh at you. All right. Jason says she still sends the emails, but actually she doesn't. DNC pretending to be, I'm your team. Yeah. Allison says no one is running against Chance Green for District 74 Wisconsin Assembly. Chance Green is Sawyer County, Wisconsin. Oh boy. I actually grew up in Sawyer County. Bizarre. How long until could you get somebody on there? God, get somebody in there. There's somebody I could talk to. I'm going to make a note about that. I'm going to make a note about that. All right. Yeah, Kamala and Biden are not in the Epstein files. Yep. Angie Decadence. Nice. Who's changing? Who's challenging Hakeem Jeffries in New York City that we can support? Don't see a. There was a guy. I think he dropped out. I think they finally pressured him to drop out, which is what they do. That's how they determine how they win. You must get a full court press of pressure. People just beating you down psychologically. I don't know if he can get back in. So I think he's not being challenged as far as I know. So maybe that'll change. Jason says Kamala never responded either. It was pretty bummed. Yeah, but I mean, that was. She's local to my area. Are you talking about the president? I mean, she was under the gun. Her book is really interesting. I recommend reading it. You don't have to buy it. Go get it from the library. But I think her book, she subtly says a lot in that book about how the DNC completely sabotaged her presidential campaign. It was interesting to read. I gave it to my wife to read. She was in tears for a lot of it. She's like, this is what we could have had. And in reading her book, another thing I found really interesting about Kamala's book is she does go through, she says, this is what I did. This is why I did that. This is what I could have done better. And so it's so meticulous, her thinking. It's impressive. So I remain a fan of Kamala, mainly because the DNC is trying to sabotage her. And you saw that they did that stupid audit, and they're just like, well, her position on Gaza is why she lost. It's like she never had a position. She was the vice president. The job of the vice president is to uphold the president, and that's in her book. She's very clear about that. The job of vice president is really tricky because if it's perceived that you are trying to make a grab for power, then you just kind of take apart the whole administration. You get warring factions, all these bad things happen. So your job is to be a support person, to be a cheerleader, to sit there, to do the work. And I think she handled it. And then they put her in this impossible situation. The best thing would have been if when Biden decided not to run, if he would have resigned, he would have sworn in Kamala as the president. I think that alone would have been enough to get her, then she would have been pulling, but the DNC didn't want to give her that power. So they probably consulted Biden to stay. If you'd have given Kamala that power to be president, okay, I'm calling the shots now. And then she could have immediately said, okay, we're not doing this. But she wasn't the one who could call the shot. Vice president doesn't have that much power. And the DNC fucking knows this. And the other thing about the DNC is they blame Kamala for position on Gaza, but there's nobody in the DNC who has stopped taking AIPAC money, right? So the DNC continues to do the exact same thing, even as they try to turn around and blame Kamala's loss on Gaza. The DNC still takes genocide money. And they're trying to distract from that money they're taking in by blaming Kamala. And that's something we have to call out too. Yeah. Glass cliff. Interesting and very accurate description. Yeah, I forgot where I'd heard that too. I can't remember. Maybe it was Allison Wilts. Don't forget this is June and July. Don't forget what the problem is. The billionaire class, not a party, not a race, not a religion. Yep. And I mean, all these distractions. It always comes down. And I hope you feel a little bit better. Like we wanted to talk. This is another illegal murders committed by the U.S. government, and Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. I talked to a nuclear weapons expert named Bob Dana. I'll probably be talking to him next week. And he was like one of the top 3 guys in the country at one point about enrichment. He knows the whole process. When I was interviewing him, there was stuff he couldn't talk about because it was classified. He knew it all. And he says Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. They've been saying that for 100 years, well, 50 years, not 100. But he's like, they always say that. They always trot that lie out. And we are in the society where we don't have serious people. We don't have knowledgeable people. We don't respect education and achievement. And because of that, the general population is so ignorant that you can just tell them anything. And there are few educated people that have platforms that can push back. And, I'm educated and I'm old enough to know a couple of things where I have had faith. It's like some of my ideas have played out, like raising my kids, being a father. I've done a good job at that. So I have some this is what works. So it's not theory for me. Some of these things I've put into practice and I've seen it. Uh-oh, here comes a sneeze. Oh, it went away. So we have to change that. And because the legacy media controls everything, now they're doing it with AI. AI just spews out the same bullshit, uh, dismissive of the truth. We need real people. And that's one of the big advantages of coming on Substack. You see all these wonderful experts who have been suppressed. They've had their voices suppressed. You can take this platform and spread the message a little bit. And just in hearing it, then you carry it with you onward, forward into the day. Um, little interactions we know when you're checking out your groceries and things like that. We can change the narrative. We have to. Lefty says, I really wish someone was opposing Jeffries. I wish so too. Agreed. Yeah. All right. Scrolling down. It's a great idea. Being able to vote percentage cues would be a good too. Okay. Oh, hey, Elizabeth. Good to see Elizabeth Sillick. Yeah, they had a strike. But what's going on really? And that's a long question. I'll just answer this just kind of as a throwback. Just wake up and seeing the news about Iran. What's going on? What's going on is that we have a criminal in the Oval Office who's trying to cover up the fact that, he's associated with all these child rapists. And he just received a bad decision. Well, he received a decision that he doesn't like about the tariffs from the Supreme Court, and he is lashing out. And just a couple days ago, he says, I can make these other countries pay because all he thinks about in the world is vengeance. And so he's murdering people again. And at some point, the United States of America, the citizens of this country, if they want to, look themselves in the mirror, think of themselves as good people, they have to do everything they can to make sure that these crimes against humanity are stopped. They have to be stopped. And we can do it lawfully. We can do it peacefully. But what I'm trying to convey today too is this just happened. It's another crime by this individual who has done nothing but commit crimes all of his life, and he lives in a perpetual present. He never considers the consequences of his actions. We, to our discredit, have let him get away with it, and people are waking up to this fact. And you feel it accelerating now. His transgressions are becoming worse and worse. He's losing control. The billionaire class, they think they're untouchable, but it's the cat's out of the bag because they're facing accountability all over the world for their crimes. It's all coming down for them. I guess the question at this point is, are we going to let these evil people destroy the world so that they take all of us down with them, which they are totally happy to do? Or are we going to find a new meaning of peaceful activism and effective activism, and we can start pressuring those 26 Republicans that we need to get him removed, or this whole administration removed and impeached? Action today has to happen. So, yeah, but as far as I know, yeah, there's been illegal strikes. People are dead. The president has murdered people again. And at this point, we're kind of in wait and see mode. So I just want to kind of tap the brakes on your anxiety, everybody. There's a lot to be anxious about, but at the same time, we know what the problem is at this point, and we are empowered because we know. So let me say what Lefty Prof says here. There are thousands of races at every level where red hats are run up. Yeah. And that's the problem. When the DNC gets more involved in the primaries than bothering to run people in these unopposed races, that's the true crime. That's a great point, Lefty Prof. Thank you. It should not happen. I say that Virginia was one of the few that had someone in every race in the state in November. And you'd be surprised how many people win, how many people just want an alternative. And that's actually what I keep saying. That's the place where we need our working class party. They can take advantage of that because, going to these places, the DNC doesn't bother to have any representation. That's the path. That's the strategy, but we're getting there. Yeah. Osei. I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce his name right. Sorry. I knew it was coming. It was so disappointing. Jason says, I've read Gavin Newsom. Oh, correct. Gavin Newsom's done. Gavin Newsom's the one again. He's been saying, he's like, I have to appeal to moderate Republicans. Then run as a Republican. If you're running as a Democrat, appeal to Democrats. If you're running as a Republican, appeal to Republicans. But don't tell us as a Democrat you have to appeal to Republicans. We don't want that. That's useless. So yeah, so don't read Gavin Newsom's new book. He grew up in the same area, sort of similar stories. Yeah. Yeah, he's not the answer. My billionaire friend, I don't know who that is. So there's Lefty Prof. Okay, Lefty Prof says, feels like the DNC is already telling us who the pres noms. Yeah, they are. They try to anoint it, and they put their finger on the scale. That's why they desperately want our donations, and then they use it to fuck us. It's just sort of like, don't do it. Give your money. We do need just a different powerhouse. Like AOC is the biggest fundraiser for the party, and I mean, she just really has to break. Now that Pelosi's out, maybe we'll see that. We're our backs against the wall. I tend to be on the side of trying to prepare for the worst. So yeah, I've been concerned about there not being elections, but at the same time, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And I don't think that people will allow us. There has been chatter from representatives about how we're not going to let you mess with our elections. So, but we just have to start. I mean, just openly talking about election interference from this cheating regime and the cheating white supremacists. If you look at American history, I said the other day, if we would stop teaching U.S. history like it's the Epstein files, because that's how we teach it to our kids. We teach a redacted version of history where we keep out all the crimes of all these people we're supposed to revere. It's all blackened out. If we stop teaching U.S. history like it's the fucking Epstein files, everybody will know white supremacists try to cheat in every single fucking election. That's a fact. And that's the other thing, too, is like, for some reason, Democrats aren't supposed to talk about election interference. The Republicans talk about election interference every single fucking day. They got their deplorable SAVE Act, which is just a crime against humanity. It is designed to disenfranchise women. So if the Republicans come out and they're talking SAVE Act and say, okay, you think there's election interference, let's redo a recount of 2024. They give you that opening. And for some reason, Democrats are like, well, we can't say things like that. It's like, they're just saying it. You have to answer their question. You have to answer their attacks. You can't just passively surrender every fucking time. And then they only have energy to tell me I shouldn't be talking like this. Well, Walter, if you say things like that, then people won't even come out to elections. It's like, are you serious? The fucking Republicans have said nothing about, except for election rigging. Has that stopped their base from coming out to the elections? So just don't even fucking say that shit. So this is the kind of thing that gets me riled up. All right. Okay. Scrolling. Angie Decadence. I love that name. With everything going on today, there's still time for candidates. Oh, good. Yeah, please, somebody just jump in. Just jump in. That would be a working class families candidate. Just do it. Please. Anybody who is challenging Jeffries, find me. I will work hard. I will work hard for you. And I'm a certain size. My following is a certain size, but I know a lot of other people. We'll get you interviews. We'll get you seen. Somebody put me in touch with somebody who's running against Jeffries. Let's talk about that every single day. Let's do it. Let's get that guy beat. I know we could do that. We could do that. That's possible. We just need somebody. It can't be me. I don't live in that district. All right. The DNC is controlled by wealthy yep, media is, oligarch media, everything is. How long can we be free? How long can we, the free media, expect to stay broadcasting and receiving? Yep, that's tough. I mean, I download my email list regularly. That's a good segue. I have to do it. You're more likely to hear from me if you upgrade to becoming paid. If you are not a paid supporter, there's been all these stories about people getting kicked off the list. I'm not kicking you off. List erosion is this thing. I'm not going to stop though. And you just be aware too. I download my list. There might be a day I just disappear from this platform, and I've been disappeared from other platforms. It happens. And if and when that happens, you'll get an email from me because I don't know what system I'll use. It might be Beehive. It might be Patreon. I don't know. I'll use something. I don't know. I'll find something. I do actually already have a Patreon set up. I have a couple of these things already set up, so you can look for me there. But yeah, I mean, it's just happened to me multiple times. I've been on a lot of different platforms. I always have that immediate again and again and again. This has happened to me. I get, okay, here's an opportunity for me to be a writer. And I'll jump on and I'll have like, whoa, look at all this growth I'm getting. Oh, and then it's like, because it's like there's so much for them to moderate. They're not like suppressing everybody from day one. And then they're like, "Oh, look at this guy." Somebody somewhere is like, "Oh, look at this guy. A lot of people seem to like him, and let's read what he has to say." "Oh, free education, healthcare." Like, "Oh, gotta cut that one off." So then it's like, beep. Then I flatline, and then eventually, and then I get kicked off. So that just happens over and over and over. And of course, when I was 20, I'm like, "Oh, I must not be very good at this, and my ideas must not be popular." And it takes a long time when you're like, "Oh, or maybe the entire world is corrupt, and the entire population of wealthy people has collectively come together to suppress me because they're all child rapists." And that, like 10 years ago, you would have said that and people would have put a tinfoil hat on you. Well, it's the case, and it's like we can look back now and it's one of these things. It's like all the struggles I've endured in my life, working hard, struggling to make ends meet and all that. And it's like you've always been told and you're always made to feel like you're somehow less because of that. But the reality is the people that are telling you that you're less, almost without fail, they turn around and then go rape a kid that night, and it's just sort of like, it's like, okay, maybe I didn't make $10 million in my life, but at least I'm not in the fucking Epstein files like these jackasses. At least I've got some integrity and honesty. And honestly, if I have a semi-warm house with the furnace working, I'm pretty happy. If I have time to just sit in a room and talk to wonderful, intelligent folks like you, I'm pretty happy and content. I don't need to have a pool, I can do my own work. I can sand my own floors and tile my bathroom and do all that kind of thing. I don't need to have a private island and a private jet to be happy. My integrity allows me to sleep at night. And just like, yes, throughout my life, there's been that burden of, oh, I should have done more, like this grand gift of a life, I should have achieved more. When the reality is, I didn't succumb to the pressure of these fucking evil child rapists to be a spokesperson of child rapists to spread their lies, and I've always remained true to my integrity as much as I could. Once I discovered it, because I was indoctrinated to be awful from the start, and it's like once you kind of come into yourself, because that's how evil works. They indoctrinate our kids. They make them perform acts of evil so that they're like, well, you're one of us. Nobody will love you now. You might as well just keep doubling down forever. And I broke away from that cycle of abuse. I got away from that. And it's like, yeah, even though it's been always on the back of your mind, like maybe there was something wrong with me. And now these Epstein files prove it's never been us. It's never been us. It's been this corrupt, evil system that has pressured us. It's like, sitting around here. Like I was comparing, it's like Yoda sitting out in Dagobah with this threadbare shit, and he was just like, well, why isn't he? Like, if he's so great, why doesn't he have his own building with his name on it? It's because that's what child rapists fucking do. He's going to live in a little mud hut and eat worm soup. That's what good people do because they don't want to hurt anybody. And because you can sleep at night, there's a lot of value to that. There's a lot of value to that, not having that burden of your crimes constantly hanging over you, making you twitch, making the marks appear on your hand. So, all right, I guess I got off on a rant there. Let me keep going. Yeah, I hope somebody comes forward. We can make that. We can get that. We can get Akeem Jeffries out. He is not popular. We just need somebody. Sign up. Get in there. Yeah. Leaving so many districts, red areas unopposed is criminal of the DNC. And the fact that they spend so much money on primaries. They shouldn't be spending any money on primaries. That's fucking offensive. And that's why, I mean, unless a guy is like, if there's a Republican who's unopposed, then yeah, go support a person there, Democrats. But if you got two candidates who are out fundraising, who are out talking, collective or cooperative campaigning is what I was saying. I mean, they both want to win, of course. But it's the DNC that creates all this conflict between people that should be allies. Yeah. Phew. Jason says, is a joke. I'm not reading any books except Becoming Such. Yeah. Read that. Where do we go from here? That one by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That'll give you some, because it's the same thing. And again, like Sir Thomas More, Utopia, 600 years ago, he said the same thing. It's the evil people, or it's the rich people that are evil. It's, lefty, which is why I did not use textbooks. They assigned in my humanities course. I put together my own. I always did that too when I was teaching. It causes problems, but I was just like, I just instantly, this is nonsense. Push that aside. But yeah, it's like, but I almost take it on me because I should have been advocating for more other teachers to do that. That was not usual. Thank you, Elizabeth. Preach. Yep. The Ojibwe. I got to say it right. Ojibwe are the. Jason asks, do you know the names of the indigenous tribes that were living wherever you live now. I do. Yep, the Ojibwe. They lived here. Um, Jamie says your Democrat's impression sounds like Jimmy Stewart. Oh, I should do it differently then because Jimmy Stewart's positive. Yeah. Well, where are the Democrats? Just do the goofy impression. Yeah. Elizabeth, we're the corporate Democrats. Like, we're running for campaign donations. Yeah. All right. Elizabeth says we need to get a lot more comfortable contradicting lies and stating truth, regardless of the Darvo they employ. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate you, Elizabeth. I got to talk to you again. It's been too long. I've been doing these morning talks just to get through to my all the people in my chat. Gives me an opportunity to talk to everybody, and I do. And again, I want to just say I'm so grateful to all you guys, all you brilliant minds that show up here and you teach me so much in the comments. You hold me to a standard, a high standard, keep me accountable. I really need that. And yeah, and like I always said, we got to overcome those illusions of differences because so much of that is created by this corrupt mechanism of an establishment that just controls us, that crushes us, that makes the world. It's going to make the world uninhabitable. It's going to lead to the oppression of our children. So we have to dismantle that structure, and we have to do it by looking past of a moment of frustration from one of our allies and just recognizing their diverse perspective, uh, ge- trends them towards activism that is different than ours, but also is helpful. So, yeah, continue to have grace with the people that are on your side. Um, okay, Chuck Level. Okay, I'll look for that name if I remember. And then, oh, that's interesting. I don't think I can pronounce your profile name. Ace Jones. Is that it's all pushed together? But okay. It's their job to screw us. Owned and paid for and scared of their mega base, full of deranged psychos. I'll join. I really find you worthy. Oh, thank you so much, Ace Jones. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. Free subscribers, super help. If you can upgrade to a sponsorship, that helps too. But all my content is free, and I mean, and I talk about this. It's like I'm different than Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the and hers is the structure because she's offering people immigration, and that's actually an important thing to add. Elizabeth Silicru is here. She is an immigration expert. If you are, as particularly if you are in a marginalized or a targeted group, go talk to Elizabeth. But she's one of the ones. Her stuff is behind a paywall, and that makes sense because there's so many targeted attacks, particularly with the people that Elizabeth works with, and she's offering a professional service. Whereas I am just trying to combat the tidal wave of lies that we're getting out of the Republicans. So my content can be free. These are different models of what we're trying to achieve. That's a good point. I mean, we shouldn't. And in the past, it's like because I people in my sphere I feel should be have free content. People like Robert Reich, and I've talked about this when people are like, "Here's the most important thing we need to know to save democracy." Upgrade to paid to read, So that's in that case, I don't agree with the paywall. With what Elizabeth is doing, it makes sense. But you can obviously reach out to Elizabeth, and because she gets so many people that just aren't serious people who are deliberately trying to undo her business. And there's so many different ways that we are perceived as well. They tried to shut us down, our effective activism and things like that. So anybody who is in just a targeted group, if you need to get out of the United States, Elizabeth Silik LaRue is the person. Conscientious Immigration is her page. Go talk to her. So again, thank you, Ace. And then what does she say? Elizabeth says, maybe I don't make 10 million in my life, but at least I'm not that fucking Epstein file. Yeah, that's yeah. I was sitting there saying that to myself in the parking lot the other day. It's like I think a lot more of us should be saying that, and we should be saying that to everybody running for office. Yeah, Senator Corbett. I know how to work and repair my own home. Yeah, I mean, those of us who are in writing, you become a jack of all trades. Learn Curious One. Thank you, Walter. Thank you. That's important. I really appreciate that. And I hope this morning, I mean, we all woke up with this. It's a gut punch. And that's all this president does to us is gut punch after gut punch. He takes a loss because he's, doing all these illegal things. He gets called out on it. He kicks us. And it's just, I'm tired of it. Lefty says, a Children of the Corn ref this early in the morning. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jason, I'm sorry. It said the bank auctioned my home off to a fucking investment firm yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. They're coming for our houses. I mean, what we are, another word I like to use is economic terrorism. This is a government of economic terrorism. And the idea of, not having universal health care is economic terrorism because that allows corrupt, evil, oppressive, abusive, exploitative bosses to hold people forever. And of course, they don't get everybody, but I mean, sooner or later, you're going to get sick. Sooner or later, you're going to get to that point where you can't get a new form of healthcare. Um, so you just have to put up with these people that abuse you. And I mean, yeah, we're in this rape culture, this patriarchy, all these things. Yeah. Waj ruined it. Yeah, that was the Hakeem Jeffries. You know what? Waj just asked reasonable questions. He asked completely reasonable questions, and Hakeem flipped the fuck out. And that's how you know you're dealing with an authoritarian. Because if you can't handle a reasonable question, if you have to get angry and deflect, just like MAGA does, like that's what Hakeem Jeffries did, you're corrupt. Get rid of him. All right. That was a good Jimmy. Lefty says, I often remember Churchill's quote when I get over. Yeah, if you're going through hell, keep going. There's another Churchill quote that says, Americans tend to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. I think we're seeing that. Stacy says, I want another day starring in the shit show. Yeah, and just hopefully kind of working through these emotions this morning. So much of what I'm doing right now is just reacting to what's going on. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Jason. It's awful. Elizabeth laughs. That's good. Yep. And Elizabeth, yeah, I don't do free labor. So I wanted to give you a little plug. I hope I did that. I hope I did you proud there, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is great. I really, really appreciate Elizabeth. Yeah. And then Elizabeth says, I do have a lot of free content, but I don't believe we owe it to any. Yeah. And I mean, obviously there has to be a landing page. You explain things, but then you kind of got to separate out the people that aren't serious. And there's been times too, because I get so many just like hate comments. It's like, maybe I should put it on like the comments to paid, but I've until now I haven't. But there's other people. I know Zuri Stevens gets targeted by all these fucking assholes all the time because she's a racialized black woman. So she has to do different things. So yeah, when I sit there and say my content is free, I don't mean to shame anybody who doesn't offer, but that's the objective of what I'm trying to achieve. It makes sense for me. It doesn't make sense for everybody. And that's the whole thing. Our activism isn't going to look the same, and we can appreciate each other's diverse approaches. It's all important. My nano brewery is going to launch March 2020. Oh, and it didn't launch? Worst time in oh, that's what caused it. Okay, I get you, Jason. Damn. Yeah, and we don't get the bailouts. The billionaires do. And another thing I always want to emphasize, this needs to be a reoccurring comment. Billionaires are only billionaires because they get billionaire welfare. They get our taxpayer dollars. We hand over billions and billions of dollars to billionaires. I keep getting into little arguments with people. It's like, don't even talk about taxing billionaires. Like, raising taxes is not a winning campaign strategy. But if we say stop giving free money to billionaires, that will win campaigns. And so I get so many of these bots who come after me like, well, why can't we do both? Why can't we? It's disingenuous, because the DNC doesn't want to adopt this message. Just start saying billionaire welfare. We can capitalize on the indoctrination that Republicans have used to get people to vote their way. Start talking about billionaire welfare. Start talking about corporate control because they get to control our healthcare. Why does our business get to control who our money gets sent to? We should separate that. Our businesses shouldn't be, because that'll give us more freedoms. Talk about things like that. And that the DNC can't figure this out is deliberate, because all those guys with their Ivy League degrees and all their thousands of dollars and all this, they always want to lord at us. That they can't find the accurate messaging to combat all the lies of the right shows they're just not even trying. And we have to accept that. Thanks, Walter. There's a wonderful world out here. Yes, there is. Worst time in history. Got to put that on. Yeah, I should. All right. Lefty says, I can't. Miles, they would respond to me. Yeah, they'd get Miles to respond to me. I reached out to see if they had any funding. Yeah, and I mean, part of that is they're quite a bit bigger, but I mean, they've got a lot of money. Midas Touch, or do they say Midas Touch, or is it supposed to be? I guess I never. It must be Midas Touch. But yeah, I mean, they're funded. They've got millions and millions of dollars. And anybody who's got millions of dollars is just not going to be telling you the truth. I mean, if you don't, you should support the creators who are basically at your same economic level or lower. You should never go higher. Just never go higher. The only reason we have these millionaire creators who maintain, and it's easier for them, as I said, because this mechanism of injustice, this indoctrination is already established. So all they have to do is delay and revert. Well, everybody knows. They can use arguments like that. Well, everybody knows. It takes a lot longer to explain a truth that hasn't already been universally accepted. So, I mean, take continental drift, right? Like the first scientist was like, gee, it kind of looks like the America continents would fit right into Europe. Maybe they kind of drifted apart. And the first time somebody said that, they got laughed out of the room, right? And that's what we're at. Continental drift, how's that going to work? A whole continent's going to drift? You're a moron. They get you. And so, like, the establishment can just sit there and use mockery to denounce an idea that is actually the right idea. And that's where we're at. We're at the side of the scientists ahead of our time who recognize, "Oh, that was kind of," or like Ignaz Semmelweis, the guy who said he noticed that at hospitals there was a higher mortality rate for babies than there were at the midwife centers. So he went and observed. He's what's different at the midwife centers than at the hospitals. Well, and he just saw that the midwives were washing their hands. He said, "Gee, and this he's like, maybe there's something like some little evil thing that gets maybe. Well, let's call them germs. Maybe there's a thing called germs that we can't see, but they get on your hands, and if you go from patient to patient, you infect the babies and they die. Wash your hands then." That's all he said. And the response at the time, he went from being a respected doctor to being sent to a mental institution where he was beaten to death. So, yeah, hope, hope, hope. But that's where we're at. We're at the part where it's like, hey, let's just try this. Let's try a different thing. And there's just such resistance to things that are so basic. And so that's what we're up against. And it doesn't mean that we're wrong. We just have to recognize that the enemy isn't whether or not we're right or wrong. It's convincing the mass of people to help dismantle this mechanism of corruption that exists. Oh, I'll just keep going. I'm just a chatterbot today. We all have been duped through the media, especially TV and podcasts, both parties. Yeah, and there's no left wing representation. That's another thing I always say. We only have right wing representation in the United States. You can't even get a discussion about universal health care in this country. There are other parts of the world where right leaning candidates would never even suggest not having universal health care. So put that perspective in place. Put it in your mind. Everybody got going again. So thank you, everybody. I was at to the end of the comments, but now everybody's going. I'm kind of crawling. Yeah, raise taxes until there are no more billionaires. Yep, but also just stop giving billionaires free money. That would actually get rid of the billionaires too, because they have no talent. See, they're all subsidized by the government. People don't recognize this. They're subsidized by the government. They get billions and billions and billions of dollars. Just stop giving them money, and they'll go away, even with the tax code as it is, because they're useless. Jay said, "Did I can never drink again due to the metastasis." Oh, I'm sorry you got cancer, Jason. A really good beer used to. I'm sorry about that. I hope, yeah, give me some details, but I yield my best wishes on that. I always hate to hear things like that. Lefty Prof says, very good point, Walter. End billionaire welfare. Billionaire welfare. That's a winning campaign slogan. Stop it. End billionaire welfare. Yeah, Walmart. They take advantage of the tax code, but I'm sure they get subsidies and stuff when they come to states. Stop all that. Yeah. Oh, there's all this money out there that could make our lives so much easier, and we just sit and allow them. It's like 95% of the money, maybe more. Maybe it's 99% just goes to evil people, and it's our money. It's money from our labor that we work, that we pay in. Oh, somebody mentioned, Jandro says, Wagner was ridiculed. He proposed continental drift. Yeah. Call the Midwife is a great series. I'm down to the end again, so maybe I'll start winding down. I've been here an hour and a half, but thank you all you guys for showing up. Healthcare was co-opted, and actually the laws against midwifery, they make it so that you have no option but to go to these corrupt healthcare hospitals. There's so many different structures by ways where we're exploited now. People don't even know. Yeah, women's healthcare has been co-opted. I mean, it's a crime against humanity. To deny women the right to reproductive health care is a crime against humanity. That's not a legitimate position. We have to start calling it that. That's another thing. Just take that with you. Oh God, I didn't watch. Yeah, those guys. They're all. And I mean, the media. They're just acting like this is normal, and they keep calling him. I mean, this is murder. He's a murderer. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yep. What she wants. Yeah, that's a good comment, Jason. I mean, just ask her what you want to do, and that's good, and be supportive. But yeah, I mean, and I have daughters too, and they have a right to their own bodies. I wrote the other day. It's like in the United States, you don't get your right to your body, man or woman. It's like as a little boy too. Like people would just bother you and molest you, and I mean, it's like you just don't concede. Like patriarchal people claim ownership of bodies, and that's this whole American system. Can we be right and not end up beaten to death in a mental institution, though? I hope so, Amber. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I hope so. I mean, we have to be right. And like that's the whole point of community. We get together, there are more of us than them. We have to accelerate the process of getting people to learn. And we can do it in ways that are less but I've been kind of slow about it too, honestly. Over the years, I always am mindful of what messages I can speak that the audience will hear and which the audience will reject me for. And I've always known there's truths I can't say. And these days, it's basically I can say anything. So that's actually gives me a lot of hope because I know I can speak anything that I think is right, and I won't be instantly dismissed or or attacked. There's plenty of people out there like, you know what? I think we do have to try something different. So yeah, I think we're past the point of being beaten to death in a mental institution. But that's a funny comment. Uh, Jamie says, Walter, I have to go start the day. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. And Lefty says, "That's what scares me about the executive order the Blob signed about putting homeless in mental institutions don't exist anymore. I think there's another way they're going to get rid of us." Yeah, they've got all I mean, but it's like there's the tidal wave of things that make us afraid, and they just wanna put us in that perpetual fear state so we don't recognize how weak they are. I mean, that's really, I guess, the takeaway today, everybody. These increasingly hostile actions, they're trying to hide their corruption, and all they do is further expose it. So, I mean, I'm not trying to, trivialize the danger we're facing because there's a lot of danger. But the reality is more and more people are waking up to this reality of what's going on, and we have more and more ways we can apply pressure. Um, Peaceful protests at the house of the billionaires who are supporting this regime, peaceful protests at the houses of the representatives who have not signed on to impeach and remove for treason, and general strike type stuff. I mean, the United States hasn't thought about that, but once we get kind of that power back and see that power, we can do more than just remove this criminal administration, and we should aspire to more. The billionaires have got to go, all of them. They got to go. We need equality. Like everybody in the United States have had the same economic power. Unless you have that, people are going to abuse and exploit the marginalized. The only way to stop the abuse of the marginalized is to ensure the marginalized have equivalent economic power. Life is already hard. Yep, and that is true, General. But the silver lining I always say about this last year is being able to meet wonderful people like all of you. You guys really helped my spirits. I mean, I was kind of frantic. I mean, before I started talking, I feel a lot better now. I had to get a lot off my chest. We talk about it. We talk it through. I see there's 140 people who have come and gone through this talk. So just knowing you're out there helps me know that when I go take a nap, other people are doing the work. So that's important. Um, Good. Good. That's a beautiful thing. Jason said he giving his partner the opportunity to say, "What do you want to do? This it's your body," and then I think that's a beautiful gift we can give to the people. Just men need to stand up and support bodily autonomy because it does protect you too. There's selfish reasons, but it is the right thing to do. Try to have a good day, everyone. Going to force myself out. Yep, go for a walk. That helps so much. Okay, learn, curious. See you, see you. Off to work I go. I owe. Yeah, I know that feeling. Amber says, Lefty, that's why they've been criminalizing the homeless. Yeah, and they attack poverty just to justify billionaires, which is awful. Jason's child is 27, graduated from college a year early, 2 degrees, debt-free. Wow. You should be proud, Jason. That's amazing. Good for you. Yep. All right. I'm going to scroll down again. Let's close off our comments here. You guys are keep going. You guys are so nice. Yeah. Practice what I preach. It's that simple. It really is. I don't usually come on every morning, Ace. Thank you, Elizabeth. Wonderful to see you. I probably take tomorrow on, but during the week, I'm usually on. I jump on after I drop off the kids, usually around 8:15. Yeah. Nothing better than being proud of your kids. And I'm so proud of mine. My girls are wonderful, and it astonishes me how powerful they are. And that's where my hope is. Powerful women like the daughters I raised are going to go change the world and save us all. So that's wonderful. All right, let's leave it. Thank you, everybody. I ranted and I feel so much better. But yes, you guys stay the course. Remember, just take a break. You'll find, don't assume the worst is going to happen. We have power to stop the worst from happening. Just always remember that. It's the truth. We're going to win this. We're all going to rise together. We're all going to be better. Thank you all for being here. Love you all. Thank you for your lovely comments. I appreciate you all so much. Be sure to subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Maybe I'll be on tomorrow. We'll see. Probably not. I'm getting tired, but we'll see. Bye-bye.